The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Sorry about that. This is Rich Harshaw, and I'm here for the Tuesday morning ad clinic, and I'm just thrilled to be here. This is my favorite day of the week. This is my favorite time of the day, Tuesday morning ad clinic. Let's get after it. We've got 3 submissions today. The first submission is Carrie from 1-800-USA-HOME. Let me see if I can find Carrie on the line. There you are. Carrie, you're going to need to hit the audio pin on your phone to participate. Your audio pin, each person's audio pin is personal to them, so nobody else hit this. But Carrie, yours is pound 103 pound. Hit that on your keypad and you should be good. Pound 103 pound. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Okay,
right.
Carrie, you should be with me now. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
How you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Happy baby.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations. I heard that you had taken a maternity leave, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to you since, so congratulations. That's a lot of fun. It's work, but it's also fun.
Yes, it is. Everything's going great. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. Let's take a look at what you've submitted. It's a money mailer piece. I'm going to just pull it up on my screen here. You should be able to see that on your screen now. Can you confirm that, please?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. And there's probably a front and a back. There's the front.
It's just a front.
Okay, what do we have? Multiple fronts?
Yeah, I guess just the first one is the one that we could critique.
Okay, why don't you tell me about
I was just
this?
kind of throwing together ideas. Yeah, well, this...
I've never just thrown together ideas, ever.
We'll focus on this one today. For the money mailer, it is just a front card. It's just a stack of coupon cards in a mailer.
Is it just plain white on the back?
Yes.
Okay, and how many homes is this going to go to?
Oh, it does vary. This is a pay-per-call thing, so it just depends. They use it kind of as a last-minute filler, so I really don't know exactly.
Okay. And any idea of what kinds of homes it goes to, or is it just kind of a potpourri?
It's homeowners, but, I mean, other than that, just homeowners.
Okay. So our Solace windows are better, and we can prove it. Now, there's a couple of things going on here that are a little bit disconcerting to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not one of them. I just want to ask you a question. This is not one of the things that's disconcerting me, though. Is this not supposed to be branded your company?
Well, yeah, and nowhere do we say 1-800-USA-HOME. I don't know, what do you think? Because Solace Windows is our window, but we don't mention, I've never used this ad. I don't know, so I guess, what do you think? And nowhere do I mention 1-800-USA-HOME.
Well, I was just wondering if there's some specific reason you're not branding this to your company.
No.
Because that seems odd to me. Now, I don't know that it necessarily changes the response any, but it,
right.
You know, here's the deal. If the majority of the people that see this are not going to call, that's just the nature of advertising, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to think that even in this situation where I don't get the call, at the very bare minimum, I've at least given them, you know, here's my brand, you know, 1-800-USA-HOME. So maybe it lodges somewhere. And this doesn't have the ability to even do that. So unless there's a specific reason it's not branded to your company, I would brand it to your company. There's no downside. There's only upside. And it's only a little bit of upside. It's not like people are going to, you know, two months later, they're going to say, oh, geez, now I need Windows. Who was that company I saw on the money mailer 2 months ago? It's not going to happen. But it can't hurt to give them that little push. Now, that was not the thing that's disconcerting to me, because I don't really think that affects the response rate. Here's what is kind of disconcerting to me. So first of all, we've got this green color, and green in and of itself is not disconcerting me, but up at the top, this is very subtle. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but you've got the Solace Window logo, which has 4 squares on it. The upper right-hand square has what appears to be leaves on it. The color is also green, so immediately this looks like a shamrock. Now, that's not necessarily disconcerting in and of itself, but I've got people thinking about shamrocks and Lucky and St. Patrick's Day and Lucky Charms and they're magically delicious and all these types of Boston Celtics, whatever people might have associated with shamrocks is coming to mind. Now, that's really subtle, and you might not notice that, but I'm telling you, these subtle things, like what people first see and think when they see this, are really some of the most important elements of this. Are you seeing that now that I pointed out?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a window, like you're kind of looking out the window. And
well, I know what they want it to look like. I'm telling you what people are going to see when they look at that. They're going to go, oh, there's, and so that's a little bit. That's not that big a deal.
Okay.
Then here's another issue. And this comes up every once in a while. It's not the most common thing that comes up, but it is kind of common. You've got a name brand here called Solus, which is also, although it's a fairly unusual word, you don't see it all that often, it's a common word. Quantum of Solace, the James Bond movie, or, what does the word solace mean? Like console, sort of?
Okay.
So you take this word that people know, but it's a little bit, it's not unfamiliar, but what's the word? It's not as common. It's not a word you see every day, right? Mm-hmm. And you throw it into this headline in a context where they're going to read it as the word that it normally is, not the brand name, because they're not familiar with this as a brand name at all.
Correct.
So they're trying to figure out Solus Windows. Oh, did something happen to the window? Solus. What does the word solace mean? Solace, not soul. It's not soulless. Solace. You see what I'm saying? These are very subtle things that throw people's groove off. Because here's what happens with Money Mailer. It happens with all kinds of advertising, but Money Mailer, it really happens because people are literally sitting down and flipping through it. How much time do they spend on each one?
Just a second.
Think about ones that they don't actually stop on. Okay, let's say that there's 50.
Right, half a second.
It's probably even less. I mean, it's just a quick flip, and their brain is going through an exercise called, is this important and relevant to me, or is it something that I don't want to look at? And they flip through this, and they see this word Solus with Windows. They don't recognize that it's a brand. They can't combine these two things. It makes they get like this little smoke coming out of their head from a short circuit. They see the clover, and they go, what? That's what happens when people see this. I'm not trying to be dramatic or make things up that don't exist. I think that that's happening a lot. Now, that aside, so that's kind of an issue. That aside, let's look at the headline in its context here. Our Solus windows are better, and we can prove it. Okay, so you're assuming that somebody wants to, replace their windows, and the Solus window is the best. Okay, that's all right, maybe. Let's come back to that in a minute. Now, you're going to prove it. Here's what you just said. Somebody flipped the card, and you threw up your dukes, so to speak, and you said, our windows are better, and we can prove it. And you kind of came at them ready to fight. Now, that's not a bad thing, but you better be ready to fight if you throw up your dukes, okay? So here's what somebody's going to do. They're going to look at this, and they're going to say, okay, wise acre, prove it. So let's see what you do to prove it. Blinds between the glass, decorative glass options, qualifies for the energy tax credit, lifetime non-prorated transferable warranty, awarded the most efficient window, fiberglass reinforced, 27% more viewing area, factory certified installers. And I don't think that you're really backing it up. You familiar with Muhammad Ali? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not like a boxing fan or anything, and I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched Muhammad Ali. I haven't even seen the movie about him. But when I was a kid, he was really popular. Everyone loved Muhammad Ali. And the reason they loved him is because he was so cocky and confident in himself, right? Remember that? You know what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. What if Muhammad Ali was talking, I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, and he was talking. What if he got into the ring and he just, got knocked out on the first punch? all the bravado would be for nothing. And so we kind of got this bravado, but not really a lot of backing up the bravado going on here. So I think that this ad is realistically on a scale of 1 to 10. I mean, it's sub 5. It's got the subtle shamrock issue. It's got the subtle, what is a solace window, you know, and that word is just normally a regular word, but now what is that, a brand, huh? And now you've kind of got your dukes up, but you don't really come in and improve it. So what I'd like to do is say, let's find a way to make this better. And of course, that's why you're here on the call. So let me ask you this. Why is your Solace window better? What makes it so great? What's so great about this window? And you know what? I don't think that the things on this bullet list are necessarily it.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's some like technical things that I don't.
That's
think
okay.
is one
We're just talking right now. We're not writing an ad. So just tell me anything that may be relevant. Okay. Tell me a couple of the technical things. I don't. You know, I'm not going to go to computer camp today.
I mean, the energy efficiency, the R value, more viewing area compared to the competitor, 27% more. That's a pretty big thing.
Tell me a little bit about the energy efficiency and the R value.
Okay.
Again, I don't need an exhaustive discussion. Just give me a little bit of information. Just give me the 20-second sales pitch on it.
They use a special ultra-core window system. The R value is usually double compared to other windows.
So what is the R value?
I don't know for sure.
Make it up.
49. I have no idea.
Okay. Now, in Windows, there's a U factor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the U factor is?
I would have to.
Now, the solar heat gain coefficient is not going to be all that relevant in the middle of Ohio. If you live in Arizona, that's probably a little bit bigger deal. But the U factor is a big deal because the U factor tells us, let's assume for a minute that this is a really, really efficient window and it's about a 0.18, okay?
Okay.
Or maybe it's a 0.20, which is still a really nice, efficient window. Now, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying, hey, let's go talk about our U factor is really low. Hey, check out our U factor. This is awesome. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Here's what I am saying. When I asked you, here's an interesting thing. You put all this stuff on the bullet list that is probably pulled from some brochure somewhere, realistically, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's fine. But when I ask you, and I sort of pin you down a little bit, and I say, Carrie, come on, what is important about, why is this window so good? You told me two things. You said it's energy efficiency and it's more viewing area. And if I pressed you a little more, you might say, yeah, you know, there's some decorative things that these windows do that are pretty cool, right? Well, here's what I want to do. Let's assume for just a minute. I don't know because I'm not familiar enough with this window. I'm not familiar enough with, you know, this situation. But let's assume for a minute that the energy efficiency is a big deal in this window. Now, here's the thing. You're sitting in the middle of Ohio, and I don't know much about Ohio, but I think it gets really cold there in the winter, like butt cold. Yes. Is that right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I mean,
pretty cold right now.
Isn't it? It's April. It's still cold?
Yes.
Okay.
40s.
So what if we said something to the effect of, now, here's what I like to do on the Tuesday Morning Ad Clinic. I just kind of throw some concepts and some ideas out. I don't necessarily write the headline, but then maybe I'll come back and write it once we kind of play with this headline concept a little bit. What if we talked about the energy efficiency and how Ohio's brutal cold climate demands that there be some kind of ultra-efficient window. Otherwise, you're going to be losing money on your heating bills. Your home's going to be hard to regulate the temperatures. But see, that's all true, right? What if we found a cool way to say that? Now, I'm going to say this in a way that you may not be comfortable with. The reason is Because I have a way of saying things in a way that makes people uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable because they're offensive, but because maybe I pushed the limit a little bit more than it actually should be. But that's okay. We can always pull it back later. The only window rated, let's see, the only window rated superior, not with, the only window rated superior, I can't spell, you're probably noticing that right now, superior, actually I can spell just fine, I just can't type very good. The only window rated superior for energy efficiency see, I'm telling you, I can't type worth jack. All right, now let's make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier to see. The only window rated superior for energy efficiency how about this? I'm going to be a little more efficient. Energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters that also carries, not you carries, but carries a true lifetime non-prorated bulletproof warranty. Now, I don't know if I like the word bulletproof because, you know, in today's day and age, that sounds a little, you know, violent. Even though I just saw a G.I. Joe movie last weekend. It was plenty violent. They destroyed all of London. But nevertheless, the only window energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters, dot, dot, comma, 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 dot, 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 that also carries a true lifetime no non-prorated, let's go back to your ad. Transferable.
That's what it said in the ad.
Transferable warranty. All right, now I'm not saying this is the best headline we could ever write if we had a million years to think one up, but here's what happens. Let's get a little bit bigger on the margin here. The only window, energy rated superior, I'm going to put superior in quotation marks so that it looks like it was some special designation. The only window, energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters that also carries a true lifetime non-prorated transferable warranty. Now, that's saying something. Mm-hmm. Subheadline. With 27% more
viewing area.
You know what? I'm going to use a word that you're going to look at and you're going to go, well, that's not really, you know, true. But I'm going to say it in a way that a regular person would go, okay, I get that. Glass. 27% more glass. Now, they might say, well, is it thicker or what is it? That allows for better views. Okay, now they see that it's bigger, right?
Yes.
And again, you might look at that as a professional in the industry and say, well, that's technically not the way we like to say it. But I don't really care how people in the industry like to say it. I like to say it the way that people reading it like to see it. The only window, energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters that also carries a true lifetime no prorated transferable warranty. And with 27%, I don't really like the way that continues there.
Would you think this would be down in the body or the actual, like,
you know, here's what I like to do. I like to put a headline, and then I like to put another sub-headline, then I like to kind of put another sub-headline. You know why? Because if I've done a good job with my headline, then people give me a chance to say, well, what do you have next? And if it's a bunch of text, then that's okay, but I like to give them enough of the story. So I want to put as many of the cool selling points as I can in a headline type format so that they can see it very quickly. Also comes standard with 27% more glass for better views, and 5 times more decorative options than most windows. I don't know if it's 5 times, but you get the idea, right? Now what I might do is this. I might make this a little bit bigger. Not that much bigger. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I don't want it to compete visually with the top. Also comes standard. The only window energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters that also carries a true lifetime prorated transferable warranty also comes standard with 27% more glass for better views and 5 times more decorative options than typical windows. Okay? Then we can come down here and we could put bullets or text. I kind of like that. Now, here's what I'm trying to tell you. This is not necessarily the greatest headline that'll work 40 times out of 40. I'm saying that this is going to give you a better chance than the other headline. And I'm also telling you that this is a pretty good headline, Dave Moffett, for the website. Dave's been great to work with, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Go Dave. Okay, by the way, the Owens Corning corporate website should be going live pretty soon, and the pre-positioning materials for basements is in final revision, so it's getting really, really close. We're excited about that. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of your other ads, and then we'll move on. Spring shaving. Go ahead.
Oh, the other ads were just kind of different versions of the same ad.
Buy 2, get 1 free. Replace your windows, qualify for the tax credit. Buy windows and buy 2, get 1 free. You know, I would test that one. I mean, I've used buy 2, get 1 free offers before for windows, and it's an offer that seems to sort of come and go in its effectiveness. And I can't really explain why it comes and goes. When I say it comes and goes, I mean I've seen it work and I've seen it not work in the same market from the same company. You know, maybe it depends on other competitive companies in the area. Maybe it depends on how long you've been running it. So I've seen this work really well before, and I've also seen it not work very well at all. So I'd be interested to test it. I think it's worthwhile for a test for sure. Certainly it has the surface level appearance of a really good offer. And you know what I might do is on your website, because you know, here's what's going to happen now. Let's say that you run an ad that used to get 10 responses, okay? And I'm talking 10 years ago when people's advertising used to work better.
Yeah.
If you run the same ad now, how many responses does it get on average, would you say?
3 phone calls per ad.
Let's say 3, okay? 2 or 3, right? That's pretty typical. You say, wow, that's really terrible. Well, here's the reality. Those same 10 people that would have answered the ad 10 years ago, responded to the ad 10 years ago.
Go to the website.
You've got 2 or 3 of them that are going to call you now, like you're getting the calls. So nothing changed for those 2 or 3. Let's just say 2. There's probably another 4 that already got the idea before they ever saw your ad to replace their windows, and they went online. And they didn't respond to the ad at all because they've already pre-responded without having to see an ad. Okay, so your website needs to capture those as well, right? And then that's 6 total, 2 that called, 4 that aren't going to call because they've already responded or they've already scratched the itch, so to speak. And then you got this other 4 that are probably going to respond to the ad, but they're going to do it by going to your website. And the reason that they're going to go to your website is they're going to say things like this to themselves. They're going to say things like, well, this looks interesting, but let me find out a little bit more about this company before I commit to an appointment. Now, they may not phrase it that way in their mind. It might be a little more touchy-feely, like, I don't really want to get hammered by a salesperson until I feel pretty confident that this is who I want to deal with. Another reason that they might go to your website is they'll look at this and they'll go, huh, buy two, get one free. And people will have sort of this BS detector that goes off, right? Well, you know, buy two, get one free, that sounds outrageous. However, there are industries where this kind of discounting is common, so it actually gives some legitimacy. For instance, jewelry is always 50% off, right? You ever notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Mattresses are always on a huge discount, and they're always giving away stuff for free. So there's industries out there that have huge discounts, so they might just want to read a little bit about this. So I would probably go on to your website if you run a buy two, get one free offer, and I would give some rationale for why it's buy two, get one free. It doesn't have to be 7 paragraphs of detailed explanation. It could be something as simple as we run this promotion one time per year in the month of April only. It's our best offer of the whole year. If you'd like to take advantage, call now. So then at least it has some scarcity as the rationale. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be during the month of April, we get a special price from our suppliers. They actually cut our cost in an effort to raise their volume, and we then pass those savings along to our customers in the form of our buy two, get one free. I'm not suggesting that that's true. I'm suggesting that whatever is true, let's say it so that we scratch the itch when people say, buy two, get one free, how's that even possible? And then we tell them, and they go, oh, okay, wow, that sounds like a good deal. And you could have any number of different rationales for that. You know, I don't know what your rationale is. Usually it's just some sort of a straight pricing game, but that's not a good rationale, so we would want to say something that sounds
Right.
more believable. Okay? So I kind of
Okay.
like this, but I'm just, here's all I'm saying is, yeah, this looks good, test it, but you may want to consider, you know, saying something about it on your website so when those people go there, they go, wow, this really does sound like legitimately a good offer.
Okay. The only
Okay?
downfall is this doesn't guide them anywhere really to the website.
Well, you could put a web address on there, couldn't you?
Well,
Or no,
only
because it's
it's
pay per
pay-per
lead.
call. Yeah, they don't allow
Okay.
it. So, but
Well, guess what, though? You could actually put it on the actual card. It doesn't have to be, like I said,
Okay,
I was
gotcha.
very specific. It doesn't have to be 7 paragraphs of text. What if down there somewhere, what if you took that picture of that window and you made it only fill up 1/3 of that space, and maybe you cut off the lamp and you kind of just scooted it over and you left a little area for paragraph. Our suppliers give us special discounts during the month of April. We pass the savings along to you. You know, if you've been thinking about buying windows, this is absolutely the best time to do it. When May 1st rolls around, our prices will be higher. You know, and whatever your cutoff dates are. I'm not trying to impose that on you, and I think you know that, but you get the idea, right? Just a little bit of rationale. I like a little bit of rationale. I had this discussion with my team yesterday that people crave rationale, but the rationale doesn't even have to be all that great. They just need a filler for the hole that says, well, how is that possible? And as soon as you put something in the hole to fill it up that sounds reasonable, they go, okay. I've seen this happen infinity times. It's the funniest thing in the world. So there you go. I think you've got some good stuff here.
Okay.
Hey, guess what I might
Yeah.
put down here at the bottom, right next to this most energy efficient 2013? I'm asking you to guess.
Oh,
Guess.
the rationale.
No, I would put that over here. I would move
Okay.
this window over, or something like that. I would probably make this phone number on the bottom about 2/3 as big as it is. So where it says see where the 366 starts? I would just squish it so the 800 starts where the 366 starts. And then right down there below the picture, I would put something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Okay.
Because
Right.
here's the problem with what you have. Windows that are beautiful, cost-effective, super strong, and Craftsman installed. This reeks of platitude. So
Mm-hmm.
people read that, and I'm not trying to say, hey, Gary, wow, I can't believe you have this horrible thing on your ad. Here's what I'm trying to say. We've got to understand how people receive and interpret information. And when they see windows that are beautiful, cost-efficient, super strong, Craftsman installed, they immediately put that into the platitude bucket, and they say, of course that's what they would say. That's naturally what the kind of thing that you see in advertisements, and they give it absolutely zero credibility. Now, that doesn't mean that they think your windows are ugly, not cost-efficient, not strong, and not Craftsman installed, but they don't believe that these windows are any more beautiful, any more strong, any more better installed, any more cost-efficient than any other window, because this is just the nature of
Right.
advertising. You say stuff like that. But when we start getting exceptionally precise with our language,
Mm-hmm.
then they start going, oh, that sounds more believable. That must be true. And it starts to get the credibility that you want it to have. The only window energy rated superior for brutal Ohio winters that also carries a true lifetime non-prorated transferable warranty. Maybe you can make that a little shorter or whatever, but you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all we
Yeah.
got time for, Carrie. Thanks, though.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And next is, Ted. All right. Let's see if I can find you down here, Ted. Ted Garrity.
Hi, Rich. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
We're doing good. Hey, I have you on speakerphone here with Laurie Miller, and she's our marketing admin, so she's going to be going along for the ride.
Hey, Lori. How you doing?
Great.
Glad to have you on the call today. All right. Why don't you talk me through what we're looking at here?
Okay. That comes from our manufacturer. That's one of the mailers that they've recommended. But I want to kind of set this thing up. There's a document that kind of shows what our strategy is for the year. Do you have that by chance? It's called the Direct Mail Calendar. One more. There's another piece of information. There you go. So as an overview, basically we're trying to design an effective, repeatable direct mail campaign to rehash our 2,000 names that we have in the database.
Okay.
Those people contacted us either through a show or through some of our previous advertising. Okay?
Gotcha.
So we have our spring show season, which we go to about 10 shows over the months of January, February, March, and we got plenty of leads to work with during that time. And then our second season is September, October, and November, a much smaller season, okay?
Yep.
So in between that, we want to do this direct mail campaign.
I'm following you.
And that's what I have highlighted in yellow.
Okay. So you've got, if I heard you correctly, you said you've got 2,000 names on your list.
Correct.
Okay. And per the yellow highlights, these are relatively recent names from the last 2 or 3 years, right?
Correct.
Okay. And your current plan is to mail them how many times? 1, 2,
7.
3, 4?
Well, and then we do after the fall show season, we plan to mail to them again, mailer 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. All right. So what is your question for me specifically?
Specifically, is that mailer number 1 is our. Now, if you go, we want to do a mailer to the people that we've already met with in their home. So that's mailer number 1. We call them the demo no sale appointments, which we have 500 of those. And if you go to that first memo that you flashed up, not that one, the second one, I guess.
Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That mailer number 1 is, that's who our target audience is, and that's what we're working on today. These are the people they've already spent a couple hours with us. They know who we are, but they typically did not purchase from us because more than likely it wasn't affordable at that time, or it wasn't the right time for them to make the investment.
I would tend to agree with that conclusion. That's been my experience.
Right. So what we're wanting to do with this first postcard is we want to mail it out with a call behind that basically says, hey, we want to help you make your dreams come true, and we want to have our in-home designer meet with you to reevaluate your needs and try to get a sunroom that will meet your budget.
Okay,
That's
now
mailer number 1.
let's explore
We'll
that.
get together on mailers number 2 through 7, the people that never met with us later. But today we're just working on mailer number 1.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Can I assume that you guys have some sort of financing offer available, right?
We offer to put them in contact with either one of our local banks, or we work with a company that provides some better financing because this is an energy-related product.
Okay, so how do you present that to them? Do you present it like you just did to me, which is we can put you in contact with somebody?
Pretty much.
How much do you get involved in that process, if any?
Our salesperson that's out in the home, after he presents price, he asks them, would they like to move forward? And if they raise a financing objection, then we say, well, here's the form, here's our local bank. We have a form that they can fill out, or here's an alternate, another form they can fill out. But we basically turn them over to those people.
Here's where I'm trying to go with this. I think it's worth having a discussion at least, and then we can decide if it's something you can do or it's worthwhile or whatever.
Right.
It may be worthwhile for you to present yourself as being able to offer them payments. Now, if on the back end, technically those payments are coming through a third party and there's a third party application process, blah, 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 I don't really think that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to guess that here's what happens. You go out to their, I'm talking about the first meeting now, okay? You go out to their home, you look at what they want, you put together a quote for them, and what's a typical sunroom from you guys cost? Just give me a ballpark.
Well, ballpark $25,000.
Okay, so it's $25,000. This is a lot of money, right? It's not something that you just casually pull out of your, savings. You have to really want to think about this.
Right.
And so I'm going to assume that you come in there and you go, okay, this is $25,000. And they kind of look at you and you try to read their expression and you try to determine if there's an affordability issue going on in their brain. True or false?
True.
Okay, and some guys look at you and they go, oh, okay, great, here's a check, and then, you close them, no big deal. Other guys go, oh, well, we're going to have to figure that out, whether that's within our own financial wherewithal or if that's a loan. And then if it gets to the point where they say, well, geez, this really is hard for us at $25,000, where you come in and say, well, we can help by putting you in contact with some financing sources.
Yeah, in our presentation, we also can tell them what their monthly payment would be, assuming a certain interest rate. But that's not as a strong part of our presentation.
Here's what I'm suggesting. You may want to make that a stronger part. Let me give you an example of how to do that, okay?
Okay.
And then this is going to potentially give us an answer to the question of, well, what do we send to these guys on the back end? Okay, so this has got multiple uses. So one way to present financing is like we just talked about. Oh, hey, we can do some monthly payments, or, oh, you can't afford this, we'll put you into contact. Another way is to go into the appointment and you sit down with them at the very first and you say, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we're here to talk about your sunroom. Obviously, it's a significant investment, however you want to say that, so it doesn't sound like you're about to, give them $1 million bid, right? But we're all adults here. We know this is going to cost money. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, let me ask you this. Is this something that you were planning on just paying for out of your savings or your money, or is this something that works better for you on a monthly payment?
Okay.
And they go one or the other.
Right.
And if they say, well, this works better for, if they say, you know, we pay for it out of our savings, I would probably explore that with them for just a minute, not to get uncomfortable with them, because it is the very beginning of the presentation, right? Oh, okay. So is this something do you have savings set aside? Have you been saving up for this? Is it like you're going to liquidate some investments? Oh, okay. So that you can get a feel that they're actually telling you the truth. Not that people would lie to you, but people lie all the time, not because they're liars, but because they just don't want you to know their true motives or intentions, or they don't want to be embarrassed and all those kinds of things, right?
Right.
Okay, great. Well, so certain people will say, you know, we're just going to pay for it out of our cash or our savings or whatever. Okay, great. So you're going to get this bigger percentage probably. They're going to say, oh, well, you know, probably monthly payment. Fantastic. Let me ask you this. What kind of monthly payment did you have in mind? What fits into your budget? Make them give you the number.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know, we were thinking, you'll probably hear this phrase a lot, we were thinking. That's a very telltale phrase. Oh, well, geez, you know, I don't know. How much does it cost, you know, to finance this kind of thing? Well, I don't know. What fits into your budget?
Yep.
I don't know. You were thinking $300 or $400.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking $800. You know, I don't know. They'll say whatever they were thinking.
Sure.
Then you look at them and you say, now, here's what you need to know. You need to know that for a typical guy's interest rate on a typical job of $25,000 in a typical length of contract, you need to know what those things are. So what is the typical payment on a $25,000 sunroom for the typical interest rate at the typical length of time? Do you know?
I honestly, we don't work that number that often. I'm going to say $200 to $300.
Okay. Ted?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to impose this on you, so please understand that right now, okay? Is that all right that we're having this discussion? Because
Oh, yeah.
I tend to talk with a very strong opinion, and sometimes it comes across like, hey, Ted, if you don't do this, you're dumb. And that's not the intention here, okay?
I'm open to what you're saying because we hit this price objection all the time.
Let me tell you this, Ted. If you don't know what that number is because it doesn't come up that much, they have no freaking clue what that number is because it never comes up because they've never faced this situation before.
Well,
so if you can tell
is,
people before the meeting ever starts, I'm going to just throw out a number. Let's assume that it's 289. It could be higher or lower. It doesn't really matter. But for our purposes, let's say it's 289.
Yep.
And then you have the ability to look at them and say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, this is going to be doable right within that budget. Depending on what you want, obviously, there's really expensive sunroofs with all kinds of bells and whistles and big things and size, and there's smaller, more simple ones, and obviously you understand that. But the typical sunroom that we sell with a typical length of contract, with a typical interest rate, it comes in about $250 to $300 a month. Does that sound like something that would work for you?
Yep.
And 9.5 times out of 10, they say, well, yeah, because here, let's face it, nobody shows up to a sunroom meeting expecting it to be free or extraordinarily cheap. Now, they might think it's $10,000 when it's really $25,000, but see, that doesn't really affect this $289 number, does it? This is how we overcome this issue.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, I want you to know that if the number of around $250, $300 is a good fit for your budget, then I recommend that we go ahead and give you the presentation because we can absolutely fit what you want into that payment. Fair enough?
Okay. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Hey Rich, you're on to something here because when I look at my competitor's website, they focus on the monthly payments rather than the total cost.
How many times do people walk in and pay cash for a car?
What's that?
How often do people walk in and pay cash for cars?
Rarely.
Rarely. Now, Ted, I'm no Bill Gates over here, and I'm no Donald Trump, but I do okay. You know, I'm probably a lot like you. I'm a business owner. I've been in business for a while. I make a decent living. I'm not, you know, rolling pennies for macaroni and cheese. I've never bought a car for cash. I probably could. I wouldn't. Why would I?
Yep.
So, you know, the fact that people can afford to pay cash and they can pull it out of savings, you know, even if you were, well, I'm not going to go that route. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? So now,
Yep.
that's a great way to sell sunrooms, and you may want to test that with, you know, maybe the next 5 appointments. Just see how it goes. Maybe it goes poorly and you decide not to do it. Maybe it goes, you know, okay, and you decide to try it for 5 more, whatever. But on the back end, here's what we know. People didn't buy, and the reason they probably didn't buy is because it was probably too expensive. And I want you to hear me loud and clear on one thing. It's really easy to assume that when you came in at the end of the appointment and said, oh, well, you know, I know it's $25,000, but I'll put you in touch with the bank. It's easy to assume that that is the equivalent of offering financing, and it is not. Because you've already mentally jacked them up. And now when the out is, oh, well, there's a bank you can contact. Well, that sounds, a bank? Did you ever get a credit card? Not a credit card. Did you ever buy something on financing from like Best Buy? Maybe you didn't, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know when you go
Yeah.
to Best Buy and you buy their, you know, their no interest deal or whatever, it's not a Best Buy credit card. It says Best Buy on it, but it's really, you know, a, you know, South Dakota Bank and Trust credit card you're getting that has Best Buy's name on it.
Yep.
If Best Buy said, oh, well, here, fill out this application for South Dakota Bank and Trust, and we'll, you know, see if we can get you approved for this television, people would go, what?
Okay.
Best Buy says, hey, I'm Best Buy, fill this out. And they go, okay. They don't care that it's South Dakota, but if, you know, it's just all in the presentation. So now if we go back to these 540 people or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and we say not, here's what we don't want to say. We don't want to say, hey, payments as low as $289. Here's what we want to say. I would write them a letter, and I would put on the letter something like this. Dear John, sometime in the last 6 months or last year, recently you met with us about a sunroom and you didn't buy. One of the main reasons that we found that people don't do business with us is because the sunroom was more expensive than they thought. They just weren't prepared for the investment. In fact, we found that a large percentage of our prospective customers that say no tell us, we love the sunroom, we definitely want to do it with you because we know you've got the best quality and blah, 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 but it's just not good timing for us right now because of other financial obligations. Now, did you notice that that's different than I'm broke?
Yep.
You know, we don't say, hey, most people say, well, I'd really like the sunroom, but I'm so poor that I can't afford it, because that makes them sound stupid and it's embarrassing. But, you know, it's just not a good fit given other financial obligations, whether it's a wedding, college tuition, vacation, whatever. We understand. We totally get that. We've partnered with, or we've come together with, or we now have financing options available where we can take your sunroom dreams and we can make it happen for about $289 a month. For example, if the original quote was $25,000, that's going to require, you know, maybe there's a down payment, maybe there's not. That's going to require, you know, a $289 a month payment. I'd probably make it something like $286.40 payment for a period of, you know, 39 months or for 60 months or whatever the month is, it doesn't matter, you know, at a reasonable interest rate. Or maybe you put that down in the fine print at the bottom, you know, these numbers based on blah, 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 blah. And I would say, so I'm coming back to you to let you know that we can do this for you now. Or if you wanted to get even trickier, you could take your customers, you could put them into a spreadsheet, Excel. You could put their name here, address here, all this other crap that goes here, whatever it is, and then you could put the quote. All right? And the quote was $26,444, right?
Yep.
Well, let's run a formula on this. How much down payment is required? Let's say that there's
10%.
10%, okay? So I come in here and I run a little formula. This times 10, 2644, and then I get my calculations and I figure out what the monthly payment is based on the remaining, okay, at a typical deal, okay? And let's say it comes in at 284, 245.45. And then the next guy comes in here and his was a little more expensive. His was 34,000, 221. His down is going to be, whatever, right? His payment's going to be a little higher. You can go in and now and you can mail merge this. And instead of saying, hey, here's an example, you can say, here's what your numbers would be. See, because what you're trying to do, per our initial discussion, you said, I want to send my design consultant in again to see what's going on. Well, here's the reality. In their mind, nothing has changed. It's just the money. So now they're looking at it going, well, your guy's going to come in and he's going to try to twist my arm on the money. But I don't have the money. Unless he has the money, then he'll call you. But the majority are still going to say, well, it's not super good timing still. So what if you just sent them the letter and it was mail merged? Now, let's take it up one more notch. Let's take it up one more notch. Are you willing to give these people a discount?
Some of them, sure, depending on what was quoted to them in the first place. Our in-home salesperson has drops that he's allowed to make.
So now, you keep that in mind, all right? You got that in mind, right?
Right.
So you may not want to do what I'm about to say, but depending on your numbers, what if you came in and you saw that $245.45 was their payment, and you sent them a check mailer? It's not actually a check, it's a fake check, but it was that number, say, times 2, and you said, hey, I'm willing to make 2 payments for you. Or something like that. Now, here's what happens. Now, this mailer has very high intrigue level because it looks interesting and cool in the mail. Now, it has a very believable story. Remember earlier I talked about rationale before on the caller before you?
Yep.
So you come back and you say, hey, we're excited to announce that we've got financing available, and we can do this for your deal based on your credit. It could be $245.45 payments. And you'll see that this check is made out for $290.90. I'm willing to make 2 of the payments for you, or whatever, right? Mess with those numbers however you want. And, all you got to do is call this number, and we've already got the original quote. If you want us to come out again and discuss it, or you want to just, solidify the plan, we'll do that. But this is a limited time offer. I'll be willing to make these payments for you if you call by the end of, this month or whatever. And then have a little bit of fine print at the bottom, not gotcha fine print, but it just explains it fine print. This is an example based on, a certain credit level and a certain amount of monthly payment. The maximum amount that we'll pay is, $500, and depending on what your payments come out to, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So even though it's, $290.90. Well, you tell them in the fine print, look, it's a maximum of $600 or whatever it is. You want to make sure that the amount on the check is lower than the maximum amount that you'll pay.
Yep.
But then, see, you're not saying, hey, it's exactly this amount, because it's going to come out different depending on their credit and all that kind of stuff. This is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets them willing to talk to us again. It may get them willing to talk to us again.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. It's marketing, right? So the fact is, the majority of the people that get this are going to throw it in the trash. They're going to either not read it, or they're going to read it and throw it in the trash, whatever. But you've got a good chance here, because here's what it's not. It's not, hey, are you ready to buy now? It's, you know, it's the oldest trick in the world, right? You leave your wallet at the girl's house so you have a reason to call her back the next day.
You do that?
Well, I saw it on a Seinfeld episode.
Okay, I got you.
You just
I'm
got to
with you.
have a reason to call back. You know, if you just call back the next day and you're like, oh, hey, so what's going on? And the girl's like, I don't know. But if you call back and you say, hey, you know what, I left my wallet over there. You know, I've got to come get it. And, oh, okay, well, come on over. Obviously,
Yep.
you need to get your wallet. We'd better, you know, work that out. We've got to have some reason to call them back. And if we've got a specific reason that's better than just, hey, are you ready to buy, then that's good. That's helpful.
Okay.
So
On this mail merge thing, basically it takes the cell that we do the calculation on and it applies it directly to the name of the person that we're mailing it out to.
Correct. So
I
what you
have
can
not
do-
done a mail merge off of Excel.
well, Excel, it's actually a Microsoft Word mail merge that can sync data from an Excel file.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm the mail merge expert. I know it can be done. I know
Okay.
it's not that difficult for people that know how to do it. And mail houses could do it for you definitely, so you don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
You would just have to give them, of course, the file with the data in it. Then what you could do is you could set up your check mailer so that it actually, you know, looks very realistic. And these are templates that we have, by the way. I mean, we've invested quite a bit of design time and effort into making checks look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, regardless of that, it's doable, and a mail house can, you know, that's what they do for a living. It's as easy for them as it is for you to build a sunroom.
Yep.
Because, you know, sunrooms are really easy to build.
We got that part figured out. It's the selling part.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what I would do. There's other things you could do. That's just one approach. You know, another approach is to be maybe less, you know, if you didn't want to take the mail merge route, you could take the one step back approach from that, which is to write the letter that says, hey, you know, you didn't do business with us before, or we noticed, you know, we were going through our files. We saw that you had met with our design consultant but didn't buy. One of the major reasons that people don't buy is it's just not good timing for them. They've got other financial obligations. Hey, we've got this special offer now where we've partnered with this company. We can offer financing. It's as low as $289 a month. But I like that approach because it's honest, it's true, and it speaks directly to the issue instead of, you know, farting around with some bull crap that's not even relevant.
Okay.
It's genuine.
Yep.
You're getting a letter as a customer that says, hey, you didn't buy from me. Here's one of the major reasons, and we'd like to help overcome that reason. That's very straightforward and honest.
Okay.
Whoa, what a deal.
That
No,
was,
they're-
these are from our manufacturer. That these are similar letters that they've sent out to follow up after a demo no sale.
Wow, what a deal. You may be glad you waited. Prices, what are you trying to say? The prices have gone down?
Well, I was not making. I was more making this about our home designer will reevaluate your needs and come up with a sunroom to meet your budget. They were going in with an idea of bottom line, you know, we'll make the room smaller, we'll do this, we'll do that. I was staying away from the lowest room possible type of way of going about it. Because I think people buy sunrooms based on their needs, not based on what the cheapest price. I want them to have the room, the size that they want, the amount of time of the year that they want. We just got to figure out how to do that with their pricing restrictions.
Good.
All right. if we make another run at this, how do we get you to take a peek at it before we send it out?
Email it over to Judy.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Ted. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay. Let's see. I believe we got one more submission. Let me pull that up. John. John, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. A little bit of crackling going there. You eating a crackle bar by chance?
No, I'm not. I'm moving, migrating back to my desk.
Okay, no problem. By the way, just by way of curiosity, are you wearing a headset right now?
I am not. I could not find my headset.
That's fine. Just wondering. Okay, let's see. What are we looking at here today?
We're looking at our mailer. This is our general mailer we're going to send out with all the products that we offer. We're trying to raise awareness that we offer multiple products. In our Kansas City market, we're known for roofing for the last 25 plus years, but we really have done a variety of other products for several years now.
Right, I do remember that discussion. So is this a front and a back of the same piece that I'm looking at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how wide is this piece? I see it's panoramic.
Yeah, that's the large one. The I'm not sure the exact dimensions, 7 by 11 or 6 by 11 or something like that.
Okay, 6 by 11 is a pretty typical postcard size, so I would guess that's it. Okay, and who would this be mailed to?
Right now, we're mailing that around to our, once we do a job, we'll do a radius mailer, and then we target homeowners and rule out multifamily dwellings and pretty much send it to those areas surrounding the jobs we've just done the previous week.
And how's that working?
This is a new one we just designed, and we've only sent one round out, and we've gotten about 15 leads on it. We've gotten 12 calls and 3 hits through the website. Is
that a lot relative to how many was sent out?
That is not a lot relative to how many was sent out, but it is a lot relative to how much feedback we got last year with last year's campaign.
Meaning you sent stuff out last year and it didn't work that well?
No, we'd be lucky to get a few calls for each mailer round.
Okay, well, you know, let me tell you what's going well for you on this card. This communicates something to me pretty loud and clear, which is we're a professional company that does professional things. We're good at what we do. That's what this says.
Right.
That's the good news. The bad news is it doesn't really say a lot more than that.
Right.
So, oh, okay, that's a front and a back. I got you here. 2 different pieces. Is that right?
Yeah, front and the back to the same piece, yeah. Oh, maybe it is 2 different pieces. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see here. Installation group.
Yeah, we did not send this one. This is the one we did not send. Sorry about that. This particular one we're looking at.
Okay, well, so here's the short version of this conversation. What I'd like to see integrated into these cards, I like the design. I think they look nice, et cetera. There's some positive things going here. I would like to just see some identity wrapped into these. So if you were on the call earlier, I don't know if you were on or not. I know it's a long call and, you know, people are doing other things and whatnot. I had Carrie on from 1-800-USA-HOME, and I said, look, if you run this postcard, which is on the screen right now, and we've got this offer, and we talked through a bunch of different things. I said, at the very least, instead of putting this, windows that are beautiful, strong, cost-efficient, Craftsman installed, let's put what we took some time to put together here. The only windows energy-rated superior for brutal Ohio winters. It also carries a true lifetime non-pro rate. Now, this is not what you would put on yours because this is not what's relevant to your overall company and your identity. Okay, this is specific to that window product. But here's what I'm showing you this because I want you to see. I'd like to put something that's got a little bit of power, precision, passion that represents your identity into these cards as well.
Right.
Keyword as well, not instead of, on the back here, let's take a look. During the last 25 years, more than 60,000 Kansas City area homeowners have trusted Border Installation for their siding roof windows. doors, stone, or stucco remodeling. This is the foundation of our company. Our operating philosophies and principles have always been built around outstanding workmanship that leads to quality home improvement. Yeah, and this is just, it's just not a real powerful way to talk about your identity. I'm not suggesting that the concepts in there are poor. It's just a phraseology issue, and that's, you know, what we're currently working on with you to get that more powerful identity.
Right.
So, you know, if you take and put that, probably put some headlines in here, maybe a subheadline, some text that's a little bit more powerful, I think you're going to have a nice little postcard there.
Okay, great.
But, you know, the front does look good. Best products, best installation, best service. Here's what I'd like to see. I made this comment also earlier to Carrie on this same call. I said if you make a bold claim like this, it's kind of like putting up your dukes and saying, you know what, I'm here to make a claim and I'm going to defend my position. And I want to make sure that if you say something like best products, best installation, best service, these are platitudes, right? All by themselves. Now, this is surprising to a lot of people. I'm okay with using platitudes as long as there's also explanation that helps people see that what you've said in those platitude statements are actually true. Okay? So if we flip this card over, and I'm flipping to the second side here, instead of seeing more platitudes, again, 60,000 jobs, that's all good stuff, but we want to just be able to say it in a way that people go, wow, these guys really do have the best products and the best installation, the best service. Yeah, it's evident based on what they've said.
Right.
When people read this, they go, okay, this sounds like a big company that's done a lot of stuff, so they're probably pretty good. And that's okay. That's not a horrible thing for people to think. But it's not as good as, wow, these guys really are good. You see the difference?
Yes.
Okay, so, you know, that's kind of where I would go without having really hashed all the way through that identity. I looked at this just yesterday.
Yeah.
Where is that thing? Let me see if I can pull that up. Oh, no, that's not where it is. I'm looking in the wrong folder.
Yeah, I just saw that this morning. That looks really good.
All right, so let's take a look. When you give the most experienced installers the highest quality materials, you get the strongest true lifetime warranties and the happiest long-term customers. Okay, good. We're the only, by the way, that stock photo guy there is the most famous stock photo guy.
Really?
Actually, it's a joke. He's just not, we put him on a lot of things. We're the only local company certified elite and master, which means your job will look good and last forever. It's true. Everyone wants the lowest possible price when it comes to home improvement, and plenty of contractors are more than happy to quote you a rock bottom price. But let's face it, blah, 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 you know, and we don't have to say everything that's on this card. It's probably a little bit longer, but it's okay because we can guide them to the website where they'll see the full story. So we take some of these kinds of headlines and we integrate them into what we were looking at earlier. So let's do this. You got to love one thing about Windows. It gives you the opportunity to toggle things side by side on the screen.
Right.
Okay. So the front side of your postcard said this, not this, this. Okay, and so we've made this claim here. Best products, best installation, best service. If we flip that over and it says when you give the most experienced installers the highest quality materials, you get the strongest true lifetime warranties. I probably want to underline the word true on that.
Okay.
And the happiest long-term customers. You know, this is good. I want people to know that we've got 60,000 customers. I think that's important. I think we say that somewhere in here. I hope we do. If we don't, we need to go back and say it. That's down here. It's a little bit lower. It's okay because we're telling a story. You know, quality is not an accident. This might be a nice little pull, what am I trying to say? set-aside little box that you could stick on this. Here's what you need to know about these postcards. 6 inches by 11 inches is actually very large for a postcard. You've got some room to put some stuff. We don't want to cram stuff, and we don't want to jam it so full that it looks ridiculous. But, you know, when you put this quality is not an accident, the Bordner installation articles of faith, you know, this is stuff that allows, the reason we put this on the website is because it allows people to see with a fair amount of granularity what you mean when you say quality. Just because it's not visible to the customer doesn't mean it's not important. Trained, experienced workers are good. Supervised workers who are trained and experienced are better. Taking shortcuts is inexcusable, intolerable, and unacceptable, and a fireable offense. And they look at this and they go, remember what I said I wanted the conclusion to be?
Yeah. For them
Man, these guys really are good. Not just, let's compare these. Just for the sake of everybody else on the call. I don't know how many people have remained. We're kind of going long here. But there's two things that people could think. One of them is, yeah, this looks like a big company that probably does really good work. Yeah. Versus, man, these guys really are good.
Right.
We want the second one. The first one is okay. It's not a bad place to start. And it's a credit to your company that you are big and you've done well and all these things. You know, you've done lots of things right, and that message is a good marketing message. Here's a better marketing message, the one we're talking about now, that allows people to go, wow, these guys are serious. Taking shortcuts is a fireable offense? Wow. Sales guys are not project managers. Project managers are project managers. Somebody might look at that. You know, I wrestled with that a little bit. And I thought a guy might look at that and go, I don't even know what that means.
Right.
But I also looked at it and when a guy goes, I don't even know what that means, but I bet it's really good. Your job is covered by manufacturer warranties, our own warranties, and insurance. Wow. No wonder they say they've got the best products in installation. No wonder they've done 60,000 jobs. I mean, these guys are serious. Holy crap, these guys mean business. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I'm going to call these guys. Okay? So generally what I do when I look at postcards like this is I'll look at somebody like you on a call like this and say, I don't know, let's go look at your identity and see what it says. Let's put some of that stuff in there.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I would do. I think you've got a really nice look here. I think you've got a really great start, and I think we can make it incrementally even more powerful. And just, you know, test it.
Okay.
So there you go.
Great. All right.
Yeah, we did a different. Did you see the trophy version of this? I asked a guy to do it with a trophy, and I said, I don't know how this is going to look, but I want to look at it and see, and I'm going to look at it right now. I don't think I'm really liking it that much.
Yeah, not as much.
I think we might be able to use that somewhere, maybe
on the awards
secondary page or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I love how the award looks. It'd be great on our awards page. We got a ton of awards, so that we'll put them all around that or something.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't necessarily want it on the front page. So anyway, it was worth a try, and there you go.
Perfect. Well, thanks for all your help. That's great.
Thanks for your business and participating on the call. I appreciate that. So we're even. It's a win-win. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I think that wraps us up for today's call. So thanks to John and Carrie and Ted for participating today. And I think we'll be back. We've got an interesting topic on our Thursday webinar. It's called Your Most Important Number, and I'm going to talk to you about, you know, how to really get to where you're trying to go. So we'll talk to you then. See ya. Bye now.